Have you ever looked around at your life and thought, how did I get here? Not because your life is bad, but because somewhere along the way, you stopped recognizing yourself. Maybe you've spent years taking care of everyone else, your kids, your parents, your career, your marriage. You became the person everyone counted on. And then one day, someone asked you a simple question. What do you want? And honestly, you didn't know. If that sounds familiar, I think you're going to feel at home here. I'm Jennifer. I'm a registered nurse, and I've spent the last 30 plus years in healthcare and corporate leadership. 10 years in the hospital, working as a nurse and then a nurse manager, and then 21 years in the corporate world, building teams, systems, and tools that help people make better decisions. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, life happened. I became a caregiver to my parents. I buried both of them. I watched my son grow up and leave. And after 21 years, I lost my job in a 20-minute phone call. Many of the roles that I had built my life around changed. It almost felt like at once, definitely one after the other. And I had to figure out who I was underneath all of them. That's why this channel exists. Not because I have figured everything out, but because I've lived through enough to know what it feels like to lose your footing and how to start finding it again. This channel is for the woman who looks like she's holding it all together, still showing up, still paying the bills, still taking care of everyone, and quietly wondering, who am I now? Maybe you're navigating grief, an empty nest, a layoff, a career change, caregiving, retirement, or maybe life just doesn't feel like the life you thought you'd be living. If you've ever felt like you lost yourself, I want you to hear this. I don't think you've lost yourself. I think you've been so busy becoming what everyone else needed that you forgot to listen to yourself. There is a difference. So here's what we do together every week. I'll tell you a true story from my own life, not because my story is special, but because stories help us to understand our own lives. Then we'll talk about what it taught me, about identity, grief, decision fatigue, starting over, letting go, and rebuilding after life changes us. Because here's what I believe, and I do not think that we hear it enough. You do not need to reinvent yourself. I know the buzzword, midlife reinvention. It's everywhere. But you're not a new person waiting to be built. You're a real person whose life has changed, and somewhere along the way, you may have lost sight of your own center, but those aren't discarded versions of you. They're evidence. They're roles that you carried. They're the wins, the mistakes, the losses, the things that worked and the things that didn't. All of it gives you information about what you should carry forward, what you should leave behind, and what you might want to do next. So that's what we do here. We use evidence of the life you've already lived to help you figure out what comes next. And you'll leave every video with at least one practical step that you can actually use. No empty motivation, no pretending life is easy, just honest stories, practical wisdom, a place where you feel understood, a place where you learn something useful, and a place where you remember something important. You're not starting over from scratch. You're starting over from experience. I'm not here to tell you to become somebody new. I'm here to help you use what your life has already taught you to figure out what comes next. So if you've spent so many years taking care of everybody else that you've forgotten who you are, welcome. You're in the right place. You don't need a brand new you. You need the woman who has been here all along, carrying everything she's learned. Every week, we take one more step forward together. I'd love for you to subscribe. And if you do, please introduce yourself in the comments. Tell me what season you're in right now. I read everyone and I will reply. But until then, I want you to keep going because your next chapter is worth it.